way too hard, I had to ice out the neck. When I'm in my zone, bitch, I get my respect. Call me Bumpy Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Texas Sports World. I'm your host, Ethan. That is Isaac. And we ain't been on in a minute, but we back at it like a crack addict. So we have a lot to get into because it has been it's been a little bit of a wild college football season in general. The CFP process was baloney. A lot of things happened this week during these last first couple rounds of the playoffs that I'm sure Isaac has plenty to talk about. So we're just going to dive right in. We're also going to get into some transfer portal stuff, some interesting little tidbits and facts going on there. Isaac seems to be having a little bit of some
we're good
technical difficulties, but I think word. I'm gonna let you kind of. I feel like you're the most relevant topic of conversation right now, just because your team was recently in the playoff.
Let's get into this real quick.
Go for it. I'm gonna hear you.
I want to know your thoughts because, first off, if I'm being honest, I couldn't care about any other game besides the Indiana-Alabama game. That's the only one I paid attention to. But I want to know your thoughts leading up to, going into, and after the Alabama-Indiana game.
Oh man! So you and I had plenty of discussions about what we thought this Indiana team was, right? Like plenty of discussions about they have some holes in their resume. If any rational football fan with any knowledge of the game would tell you that they weren't gonna just. You didn't think they were just gonna walk in and drop their nuts like they did, and like. You and maybe there's a little bit of like the helmet bias where like the Alabama A, like there's something about that you just don't bet against in big moments, in big games like this. I mean, granted, a lot of the stuff comes from the Saban era, and we talked about that this morning, and we can get into that too. But ultimately, it's still Bama. Like they still have 5 stars. They still have Ty Simpson was still a Heisman candidate 6 weeks ago, So ultimately, going into the game, I thought this is going to be this is finally going to be the game where Indiana is going to have to really out X and O the Jimmy and the Joes of Alabama, because I think that this may be a hot take to you, but I think it's pretty obvious that Curt Cignetti is definitely a better head coach than Kalen DeBoer. So, and I think he gets the most out of his players, a lot more so than Kalen DeBoer. So with that being said, I figured Curt Cignetti is going to really have to coach his team up and and he did just that. So, during the game, I thought it's 3-0. At this point, I remember thinking, okay, hell, even when it was 17-0, I still was like, I mean, anything can happen, So we saw 2 weeks ago or whatever it was when Alabama played Oklahoma. And you're like, maybe Alabama has a little bit of something in the tank that a lot of these other teams don't have, and it comes just purely because that they're Bama, right? And then we talked about it this morning, but that weird sequence of plays where it was like 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, they line up like they're going to try to get them to jump. They don't jump. They burn Alabama burns a timeout. They send their punt team out there. They motion in to try to do the same thing, but it was dumb because you had Ty Simpson on the field.
And he's never on the punt.
He's not on punt, so obviously something's about to happen. Like, if you're just going to run the ball, then you put somebody in there who can run the ball.
Here's my thing.
Well, hold on, let me finish the sequence. And then right after that, they put their offense back on the field just to run a sweep or a jet sweep to Jeremy Bernard for a loss of 2. And it's like, what were you doing? Like, it's only at this point, it's only 3-0.
At that point, it was 10-0.
10-0.
At that point, when we're going for it, this right here is the epitome of what I think Alabama. That play, I think you can take a look at and kind of tell like what the problem is for Alabama. If Alabama had one play to describe how they are coached, that's the play. because the decision in and of itself, some people might say was stupid to go for it on 4th and 1, but realistically and statistically, we tend to convert 4th downs at a pretty decent clip.
Right.
And we needed some momentum. Like we had no momentum going into it. I think that's really
Sure.
It was like
Sure.
we're down 10-0. If they get the ball back, our defense really can't stop them. Like this is just what we have to do. So I'm not the decision to go for it on 4th and 1. Here's where I'm confused.
I'm not hating on the decision to go for it. Like, because in my mind, you could have either like you're down 10 and maybe the momentum is weighs into it a lot more. But the decision is you either straight up punt it, try to pin them back, and hope your defense gets a stop, or you just go for it from the jump.
You wasted what 3 or 4 seconds faking a punt formation,
right?
Which you didn't need to do because
you wasted 2 timeouts.
Ty Simpson's on the field. Okay, so you're not gonna punt the ball with Ty Simpson as a blocker. Not gonna happen probably. They know that. Kursignetti knows that. You could see it on his face.
He was like,
"It's like the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?"
He literally was like, "This is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life." So then we motion into like a. It looks like we're gonna like QB sneak it, and we're trying to do a hard count to get them to jump off sides. First off, that was never gonna happen.
Not against that team.
Right there, if you're a well-coached football team, if you're a good OC, and if you are the offensive guru that everybody thinks you are, you should have had a play called from that formation if they didn't jump.
Yeah.
Because the smart thing to do,
and maybe you're right.
Maybe it's in hindsight. They knew you were trying to hard snap it. So the logical thing to do would be fake the hard snap and just snap it and run a play.
Like you said, have a play attached to it. So you in the HUD, you tell your guy, you're like, okay, we're going to hard count it. We're going to go 4 huts. So basically it's going to be on 5, right? Whatever, or maybe that's too many, but like to something to that effect. And, he walks up, ready, go, ready, go, ready, go. Nothing happens. On that third one, he turns around, he gives him some sort of like some little, or you don't even have to give him the signal. It's in the huddle pre-play. You have a play called off of that. Because now, or you could even like, who was it? I think it was Bama against Oklahoma, where they did like the look towards the sideline thing. And then I think it was Bama OU 1, where they looked to the sideline. And then as soon as the defense turned their head, boom, they snapped the ball and they ran it.
Yeah.
Because like that in that moment, you could have done that because they think as a defense, oh, they're trying to get the play. We're going to see what they do. It's a chess match, yada, yada, yada. But if you in the huddle pre-play have a play called that was going to be run off of the hard count, then you should have just done that from the beginning, not waste 2 timeouts.
Here's my other ick with it. And this is all negative on Ryan Grubb as an offensive coordinator. Okay. First and foremost, terrible like setup to start the 4th and 1. Then you call the timeout and you come out, and Ryan Grubb is so, how do I say it, like readable? Like I think he's creative. Okay. But when like most of your plays are schemed up
predictable,
for Jeremy Bernard.
I guess, in a way.
Yeah. And most of your, like, Jeremy Bernard is the guy that they scheme plays. It's not Ryan, and it's not Isaiah Horton.
So, and it's not Lottie Brooks, which it probably should be if we're being honest.
And so, all right, the hard snap doesn't work. The hard count doesn't work. Let's call this timeout. Let's get into a 4th and 1 play. If I'm Indiana and I see Jeremy Bernard going in motion, I'm saying somebody has – Kursignetti is too smart for somebody on that team to not key in on that and be like, I don't care what happens, I'm following him.
Yeah.
I mean, they've seen the tape. They know Jeremy Bernard is probably going to get the ball. You have a 250-pound running back in Daniel Hill. Dude, just put a fullback in there and just run it up the middle. Just run it up the middle. And realistically, that's where we could have used our size advantage. Maybe we're not going to maybe we didn't rush for 3-4 yards per carry. But if that team can't, with a 250-pound running back and all those guys we have fall forward for a yard to get a first down, okay, fine. But the play call, the execution, the everything, it was just bad. I mean, Ty Simpson ended the game with 67 passing yards in the third quarter.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's a whole nother topic of conversation. Where do y'all go at quarterback from here? Because as an outsider perspective, so somebody who's not a huge Bama fan but just likes college football in general, I would do everything, because here's the thing. What you don't want to do is you don't want to just start turning into this. You don't want to just throw guys away because they had a bad half or a bad game. I get it. It's frustrating. And, odds are if he plays even just a little bit better, that's a totally different game. But also, there was no run game. The offensive line struggled against pressure. The receivers weren't getting open very well. Isaiah Horton, Lottie Brooks, Jeremy Bernard were almost non-factors for most of the game. So,
funny enough, Ryan Williams was really the only one who did anything
exactly
from
right
a receiving standpoint.
Exactly. So there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more wrong with the Bama offense than Ty Simpson. And I think if y'all go into this offseason and y'all attack the portal the way that it should be attacked for a team of your caliber, then for all intents and purposes, y'all should be way better next year.
Well,
and do you want to test that out with a redshirt freshman and Keelan Russell? Because we all know what Mac's going to do.
Mac's transferring. I'm pretty sure he's as good as gone.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's the problem that I'm having. You have Ty Simpson, who is a veteran, right? Seasoned vet, and now has 1 year in the system, and he's had his ups and downs. He's been really good Heisman contender, and wow, this guy's not great. And there's speculation that he was injured for a good part of the second half of the season. Okay.
Right.
But the problem, I think, is, do you risk your young guy transferring to keep Ty Simpson for 1 more year?
I think Ty Simpson is going to be a first-round quarterback next year if he comes back to Bama. And yes, you do that.
I think if you're Ty Simpson, it's really listen, the 2027 quarterback class is pretty loaded.
You got Arch.
It's a lot deeper than it is this year.
If Dante Moore comes back, you'll have Arch, Dante Moore, probably Messmaker. So that's
I'm pretty sure Lagway's eligible next year.
And if Lagway ends up going to
eligible next year,
because rumor has it he could Brendan Sorsby could end up at LSU. DJ Lagway, he could also end up at LSU, and then Sorsby could end up at Tech, which is a possibility.
From Todd's standpoint, it's do you have a better shot?
It's too late now. It's too late for him to transfer.
Well, I'm saying in terms of declaring for the draft this year or not. I think for him, even if you're – I think Ty still right now is a late first, early second round guy. I know his performance against Georgia and Indiana has been bad, but I think NFL GMs look at that and go, let's say he was injured, also didn't have a running game, and realistically, we're a few bad Ty Simpson passes away from losing 2 or 3 more games this year. So, does that tank his draft stock? I really don't think so.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like right now you're very much you and I are pretty much granted you made the playoffs, so it's a little less of a sting, but we're in the same position in a lot of ways, because would you rather, like I said, would you rather Ty go to the league, Mac ends up transferring, now you only really have one scholarship quarterback on the roster, legit anyway, Keelan Russell. Do you really think, as a fan, if you're a fan, would you seriously prefer having a redshirt freshman?
Here's my thing.
Over a third year, second year? Was this Ty Simpson's first or second year starting?
This is his first year.
Okay, so give him an entire offseason to get healthy, go attack the portal, go get some offensive linemen, go get a running back.
Here's my problem though. Here's my conundrum. First off, we're bringing in 2 new quarterbacks this year. So Jet Tamala and some other guy.
Yeah.
The problem is next year our quarterback room will be a redshirt freshman and 2 true freshmen if Ty Simpson leaves. I'm not necessarily ecstatic about that. But at the same time, if Ty Simpson stays and Keelan Russell doesn't get much playing time and wants to transfer, that essentially screws the future of your quarterback room.
What you need, well, that's the thing is, if Mac leaves,
Mac is that good. Mac's not even in my mind.
So okay, so if he's gone, right? In this scenario, he's gone. You need to. They need to. Because you're right. But he's a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
Next year he'll be a redshirt sophomore as the QB2. Huh?
Here's the real truth that I think should happen. I think Ty should leave for the draft, and I think we should not allow him to come back to Alabama. As much as I love Ty, and I'm not hating on Ty, but I think from a fan standpoint, having a redshirt freshman quarterback in there almost forces you to adjust your game plan to running the ball more efficiently to help him out.
But if you can't even run the ball, that's what I'm saying is like you can't. If you had a stud running back coming back next year, if you had a healthy, I'm saying, but just because somebody's a 5-star in high school doesn't mean they're going to come in and immediately just be badass. That's just not true.
We also, Daniel Hill, A.K. Deere will be coming, and then Xavier Crowell, he's a 5-star.
Yeah, so but I'm saying if you had a guarantee on the box coming back, if you had a Josh Jacobs of coming back, that level of running back where you were like, I know he can get me 80 to 90 yards a game on 15 to 17 carries and a touchdown. Sure. Then maybe Ty Simpson leaving and starting a true freshman quarterback or a redshirt sophomore or whatever. Redshirt freshman quarterback. And you had a Michigan level offensive line of like a year ago, even this year, because this year I think they won the Joe Moore Award. So like if you had that level of talent at those two positions, then maybe you could lean more into the downhill running, let the game come to the quarterback type of deal.
Well, I think the problem is Grubb isn't going to get fired because Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are buddies, and Ryan Grubb will have to leave on his own accord. He won't get fired, even if we are terrible at offense, which we are. So I think if you're Kalen DeBoer, realistically, what you have to do is kind of pigeonhole Ryan Grubb into you have got to run the football. We have a true or redshirt freshman quarterback coming in. We have got to we will lose every fucking game we play if we don't learn how to run the football come springtime next year. And I think that's kind of the way it has to be, even if Ty Simpson comes back, because 11-3 making the playoffs is great and all, but it's not going to win you a championship. And I don't think Kalen DeBoer can afford to have another season like the way he did now. And I don't necessarily think Kalen DeBoer's on a hot seat, but I just think the way he loses football games is concerning.
Okay, so what's the temperature like on his desk chair right now?
Here's the thing. Everybody would be happy-go-lucky with Kalen DeBoer, and they'd be like, damn, that's tough. We still got things to work on. You can only do so much without a running game. If the score of this Indiana game was 24-27.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's why I was when I'm watching it, I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, but the fact that you have guys out there, the defense gave up probably, in my opinion, it looked like we stopped caring with about 12 to 10 minutes left in the second quarter. We were already done at that point. The defense did not care about the game anymore. Offensively, we couldn't do anything. So at that point, I kind of felt that the momentum shift and the game was lost at the 4th and 1 trying to go for it. At that point, I was like, we don't. Kalen DeBoer, that showed me Kalen DeBoer had no idea how to win this game.
And that's why I made the comment. That's why I made the comment earlier about Kurt Signetti. He's just a good coach. He's just a guy who can coach kids up. It just and he, for whatever reason, he's tapped into the ebbs and flows of the game and knows exactly when to do certain things. And he's like the anti James Franklin.
He
Great
is
coach.
like
James Franklin, great coach. But every game, there's always like what are you doing here, bud?
I think
Cignetti
Kurt
doesn't have those
Cignetti is
moments.
the closest thing. Everybody wants to say it was Kirby Smart. I think Kurt Cignetti is the closest thing we have to Nick Saban without having Nick Saban.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he definitely has like the straight to the point type of personality. He's definitely, and I think Kirby's like the Kirby is just Steve Sarkisian on defense.
Kirby's man.
No, I'm saying, but Kirby is better as a head coach than Steve Sarkisian, for sure. But I think Kurt Cignetti is like the perfect combination of like everything that a Saban would want is Kurt Cignetti.
Well, when he was at Alabama, when Kurt Cignetti was at Alabama, he like really wasn't great. But I think he just learned so much from Nick Saban because he's like, maybe not him as a like personality wise, but like his teams are very like Saban-esque, like 2015 Alabama football team. It's like they're just gonna do the right thing all the time, and they're gonna execute at a high level, and they're just super disciplined. And even if they don't like, I don't care what anybody says. Talent for talent. If we're talking about just guys for guys, Alabama has technically a better team. But
yeah,
it's so clear how much better coached Indiana football team is than pretty much any other team in the country.
Yeah. No, and one of the main like things about like Texas, for instance, is like we have all the guys, but we're so sloppy. Like just penalties and holdings and face masks and it's just offsides. It's so many sloppy things that are just like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and a Kurt Cignetti team doesn't have that. They don't have the back-breaking holding call on a 3rd and 8 and you run it for 15 yards. They don't have the quarterback breaks out the pocket, throws a laser for 27 yards on 3rd and 4 on 3rd and 7. And then there's a holding. You know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong, Fernando Mendoza, great quarterback, Heisman winner and all that. He really didn't like play out of his mind.
That's another thing is like people, because I've been anti Fernando Mendoza for a while now, and quite frankly, he didn't really change my mind. Like, yeah, like the score and they scored a lot and they won and that's great. They're going to go probably win a national championship, and I can't take that away. I can't fault a kid for winning, but at the same time, he didn't even break 200 yards.
Yeah, like he's not gonna. You know what it is that, and that's why it's such like I feel like a vintage Alabama feeling team because they rushed for like 200
yards. Yeah,
not do like they physically dominated every aspect of the football game, and it was like it got to a point like at first I was really pissed, and I was like I don't want to talk, and then at a certain point I was like wow. Like
you got to be impressed with it almost. You're like, Jesus,
that's insane. Because Kellen DeBoer goes out after the game and says, like, there's a fine line between what you saw today and like the best team in college football, implying that, you know, they're right there. Like this team was right there, being close to being the best. And it's like, dude,
you just got ran off the field. How about like,
dude, it wasn't you. Looking back, it's like you never had a chance. And Kurt Cignetti and the entire Indiana football team knew that we did not have a chance to win that game. And I don't know, man. Very impressive win. I feel like more executed, but Alabama's got some work to do. I think some staff changes need to be made. They have got to hit the portal, and I think if you have another season like this, I don't know who the head coach at Alabama is next year.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, that's interesting because,
or at least if you're gonna lose games, which I think now is more a little like everybody's gonna lose games. You just can't be blown out, and I think that's the problem. Everybody's like, "Oh, Bama fans are just spoiled by Nick Saban," and it's like, okay, yeah, but I really don't think that's what the problem is. I think the problem is when you win, when you go to Georgia and win between the hedges. It looks great. and then you rattle off 4 ranked wins in a row, and then you just get dominated. And it's like, why are our highs so high and our lows so low?
Yeah, it's kind of, it was a weird just feeling, even as just like a bystander, of like, how is this happening right now? Because all year you think, Indiana hasn't really, the level of competition they're playing is just not the same that Alabama's played all year. It's just not. Like, it's just they're not bad. They're not as battle tested. It just is what it is.
Well, apparently the SEC is super fraudulent,
dude, and that's a whole nother conversation, because like the thing, I mean, it's kind of nice as a Texas fan, because people were talking about how, Michigan and their opt-outs and like all the crazy stuff that happened with Sharon Moore and stuff, and they only had 3 opt-outs. I was damn near the same Michigan team. Okay, maybe it was 4 opt-outs with Jordan Marshall. I can't remember if he was hurt or opted out, but on the screen they showed only 3. And we had like 12 or 13 or something along those lines, and almost all of them were on defense. So like, I feel like, and this kind of dovetails into the conversation I was thinking about, I wanted to have anyway, of do bowl games, because people love to ask, do bowl games even matter anymore? And I'll tell you this: if you watched the Texas Michigan game, and you watched the who was it? Where is it at? Who was it? It was the Georgia Tech and BYU. And you watch Georgia Tech, BYU. I don't want to. You can't tell me that these games don't matter to these kids, and you can't tell me that like these games are what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. I had it earlier and I forgot it. But the games and the amount of time that they get to practice, the experience that they get for all the guys that didn't play all year, just in Texas's terms, Cade Phillips, Lance Jackson, who played a little bit, but Wardell Mack, who had a pick, Anthony Smith, who had 2 picks. The list goes on about these guys who didn't play all year, really.
and you could really think of it like this is a transfer portal showcase.
That's exactly what it is.
A lot of these guys want to leave, like they have to ball out in the bowl games to get looks that they haven't gotten all year, to get some film.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. But I mean, are these games going to be like in 2012 when you still had, first round picks playing in bowl games? No, maybe not. But that doesn't mean they don't matter.
It's still important. Yeah, nobody's going to go and play bowl games just to lose.
Yeah, I mean, you had Arch Manning yesterday. Almost, if there was a couple plays where it got called back, but he could have ran for 200 yards and passed for 200 more.
Like
the
truth is, maybe you don't take it as serious per se as there's definitely like it's going to deflate you a little bit, especially if you're. I'm not giving excuses, but if you're a Vanderbilt team or a Texas team who barely missed out on the playoffs, maybe it's like, why do I really care that much about the bowl game? Not like I'm not going to go out and play it or try in it.
Sure,
it's just like, okay, I'll play it, but like this isn't really what I wanted to do. But
like just talk specifically about the Texas game, they were hitting, like there was some schmacking going on, and it wasn't. They were I mean, there was some jawing. There was some. I heard on the broadcast, "Oh, fuck you up" to somebody. Like I was like, okay. I was like, I can get behind this. Like this feels fun. Like this is fun to watch. It's not like don't get me wrong. There were some other games like fucking Virginia, Missouri. What 13-7, just weird, not fun. But then you got North Texas, San Diego State, 49-47. Tell me that's not a fun game to watch. LSU, Houston, 38-35. Tell me that's not a fun game to watch. Like,
and I think I think bowl games do matter.
Sure, yeah.
And I wish they held more weight in like I guess just like an average Joe's eyes, like somebody who's not like just a casual fan's eyes. I wish they held a little more weight, because to be real, like not a lot of people are really caring casually about LSU, U of H, unless you're a fan of those two.
Sure,
Going to
sure.
watch the fucking Cheez-It Bowl or whatever, you really don't care. I didn't care. But for the players, you can't use the argument of like it doesn't matter to them. Just because the SEC loses, now it's all it doesn't. Like I'm not an SEC homer kind of guy. I don't care.
Right,
if the SEC
right.
is blown. I'm still gonna have my opinion that the SEC gauntlet is the toughest bar none schedule that you can play in the regular season. But does it open my eyes to the Big Ten and maybe they deserve a little more credit? Okay, I'll hear you out.
Yeah, I think that these games, watching them, you're like, you know what? I kind of like watching these bowl games and seeing, because there were some 5-stars on other teams that don't get to play because they're on other good teams where they got All-Americans ahead of them or whatever. And now that those guys are gone, you kind of do get a peek into the future where you're like, you know, a year from now, Wardell Mack might be trying to go win a best DB in the or Ty Anthony Smith might try to go win you know what I mean? So like, there's like a you get to see a lot more of the team, and I think them playing in a game like this where there is something on the line. You are trying to go get a trophy. You are trying to. You still want to win. Like the competitor in you wants to win. Like if you're going to these games and you don't want to win or you just don't care, then like what are you even playing a game for at this point? Like
Right.
Football in general, you know. So like these types of games mean so much for development, in my opinion. You're gonna have like these guys, because if they didn't play in the bowl game, the last time they would have played was 3 weeks ago, a month ago. But now they got 14 extra practices, or however many it was. They went and got legitimate play time. Like there was receivers at Texas, like in the game, our top 3 receivers all got hurt within the first quarter and a half. So for the last 2.5 quarters, we were playing with literally all true freshman receivers. Those guys have never played the field at all season, maybe 1 or 2 snaps a game, maybe. And they all got like 50 snaps. That's important. That's important for development.
Yeah.
So like, I think to move to just the broader thing about college football, these games, they do still matter. And I kind of watched it. It kind of felt like a preseason game where it's like
in the next year.
Yeah. Like it's a preseason game, but there's still something on the line. There's still that twist where you still get a trophy. You still get a shirt that says Citrus Bowl Championship. You champion. You still there is still you can still get that hat that you get to wear whenever you become a insurance salesman. But regardless, I think that these games matter now. They still matter. They're fun to watch. You get to see different guys you've never seen before. You listen, you hear all these names during recruitment of like, oh, he's a 5-star, or like, oh, he's a 3-star, but he got freak size, or you hear all these little things about guys coming out of high school, but you don't ever get to see them, and half the time they transfer before you get to see them anyway. So like now with this setup, I think these games still matter, and I was excited to watch it. I'm still excited to see a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Said it was.
No, you're good. But yeah, I still think that these college football is still in a good place. There's still, I think everybody overreacts in college football when it comes to certain things, and so it all started back when Christian McCaffrey opted out, and then it was Jadeveon Clowney, I think, opted out, and then it was I'm missing the big one, Leonard Fournette opted out. So like, and everybody thought, oh, this is it, this is the end. That was like 10 years ago.
I think bowl games. I'm not gonna lie. I was a bowl games don't matter kind of guy.
Sure.
Personally, just because it's like maybe not in the sense of like, yes, the development is still important and all of those things you said were important, but just like, what are you playing for? Like maybe the development. I'm talking about like for the younger guys, they're important. But what about as a competitor? Obviously, you want to win, but like what does this benefit for a senior or a junior? Outside of just playing one more game. Like, if you don't really reach the playoffs, it's kind of like boom or bust type of thing. Like, you're not really
you're not going to hang your hat on the fact that you won the ReliaQuest Bowl last year. You know what I mean?
Sure. I think what we're seeing is the test of the fortitude of college football. And what I mean by that is two things are going to happen. You either care, regardless of money and regardless of all this other, you either care and you're going to play, or you don't care and you're not going to play. And so, like, ultimately, we're seeing, does this sport still have competitors who love the game in it?
I think so.
I think so too. I think because,
everybody on the Indiana Hoosiers is one of those guys.
Yeah. And that's what pisses me off about Notre Dame and like these other schools who are just like, nah, we're not going to play bowl game. For what? Why? For what?
To make a point.
To make a point that you, but the thing specifically about Notre Dame, they didn't have a schedule. Like, they literally lost to the team that mattered.
Yeah, I think the Notre Dame thing is kind of beaten over the head. Like, we
haven't talked about it on here, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
It has. I mean, obviously, join a conference. The fact that you even get to make a 12-team playoff if you are ranked in the top 12 at the end of the season, and then have to go ahead and pretty much hand select wins from a bucket of hats as your schedule is kind of crazy. Really no defense.
And then to cry about, and then a couple weeks ago to cancel your USC game, probably the biggest game on your entire schedule. What are you doing?
And now Alabama loses to Indiana, and all the comments are like, that's why a 3-loss team never deserved to be in. Okay, I mean, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. But I mean, we won a playoff game, so which is what y'all said we weren't going to do.
Right. If you win, I mean, as long if you get in and you win, then you were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that every loser that loses doesn't deserve to be in there, but for a team like Bama, where the whole talking point was 3 losses, then they get in and win, then you kind of lose your argument.
Even if they get blown out by Indiana, I feel like. Because here's my thing. Hate Alabama all you want. That's really what it is. You just hate Alabama. Regardless of how we could go 0-12 and they would still hate us. It doesn't matter. The problem is that I have is like, fine, hate us all you want and all that. Let's acknowledge the fact that Tulane and JMU didn't deserve to be there. If we didn't deserve to be in, they for sure didn't deserve.
For sure, you didn't deserve to be in.
So you're mad at the wrong one. I get you hate us. That's fine. I'm not saying you got to root for us. I'm not saying you got to argue for us to have a spot. But you're mad at them. You're not really mad at me. Because you're not really mad at Alabama because your team got left out. Your team didn't get left out for Alabama. Notre Dame didn't get left out for Alabama. They got left out for JMU and Tulane.
Yeah, so you're mad at the wrong people.
Yeah, you're mad at JMU and Tulane.
Right. I mean, let me ask you this. Do you think Notre Dame and Texas being in, Notre Dame and let's take Texas out, Vanderbilt being in because they're a 10-win team? If you want to take Texas out because they're a 9-win team and 3 losses, fine, whatever. We don't got to rehash that. But would you have rather seen a playoff with Notre Dame and Vanderbilt rather than JMU and Tulane? The answer is yes to everything every time.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Every time the answer is yes.
And that's what the playoffs are supposed to be, by the way.
Right. Yeah. But you know what the problem is? The problem is the NCAA is a bunch of bitches and they're terrified of getting sued. And so if all of a sudden they make it to where G5 teams can't make it, well, my whole thing is nobody is saying G5s can't make it. You have every opportunity to make it. But if you don't have a ranked win and you already played the team you're playing in the playoffs and lost by 30, you don't get to get in the playoffs.
I would agree. And I think the problem is, and I will agree with a lot of the Alabama haters on this one, not specific to Alabama, but I do think if you have a historical brand there's a little bias. Okay. Yes, there is
Sure.
a little Alabama bias, but there's also a little Ohio State. There's a little
Yep.
Georgia. There's a
Yep.
little Notre Dame. There's a little Texas. There's a little bias for any historical program.
Right. Any blue blood in reality.
Because the truth is, if you're looking at just records, Notre Dame doesn't look much better than JMU in terms of like who should be in. So yes, do I think Notre Dame deserved to be in over JMU or Tulane? Yes, but let's not sit here and say like why would Notre Dame deserve that more than JMU? Wasn't Notre Dame a 2-loss team?
Yeah.
JMU was only a 1-loss team, or Tulane was only a 1-loss team.
Yeah, Tulane's a 1-loss team. To the ranked team that they had, they lost by 30.
Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I know Notre Dame beat like USC or something like that. Whoever that they had a ranked win, but
Notre Dame's schedule is really bad, but JMU's was even worse.
Yeah. So, man, I hope they change the rule of who gets in next year. And I'm not saying no G5s, but like if you're a G5 school and you think you're on the cusp of like making a run, schedule a tougher game. Like schedule that, win your ranked game, Tulane, win that game, and there's no question about it.
Yeah. Then it's like I feel like the only way around it is if the committee puts out G5 teams, there is no auto bid anymore. But that doesn't mean you can't get in.
Yeah.
If you go 12-0, 13-0 or whatever it is, you win your conference and you beat I don't know, call it any let's say any ranked team. Really, if you have any ranked win, then then you have an opportunity to get in.
And mind you, G5s can benefit from the same kind of bias as Power 4 teams can. If Tulane for the next 2 or 3 years goes on a 1-0 loss, per season, like if they go the next 3 years and with a combined total of like 2 losses in 3 seasons, they'll probably make the playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue the reason that
every single year, if you win a ranked game,
I would argue the reason that they got in this year is because they beat USC last year in the bowl game.
Sure, I mean, I wouldn't disagree, but because I'm saying it has to, like, you can't sit there and say JMU and Tulane are on the same playing field or deserve it as much as a team like Vandy or Notre Dame or Texas or Miami, like, because it's not comparable. You can't really compete where you don't compare.
I'm not even saying that I mean, I do believe this, but it's not a core of my argument. That I'm not even saying Texas would go out there and beat Ole Miss or beat Oregon. I'm not even saying that. They may lose, but it's not going to be 35 to fucking 3 or 7, whatever. It's not going to
35 or whatever.
Right. It's not going to be, it's not going to be 54 to 30. Whatever the Oregon JMU game was. And I'll give JMU a little credit. They made it. They hung it. They scored 34 points. So like,
yeah, no, that's crazy. They scored.
I'll give them credit for that.
JMU, hold on.
But you still lost by 20.
Let me argue for the G5 real quick. And I might be wrong, but JMU scored more playoff points than Alabama did.
Yeah. JMU also scored more points in the playoffs than Texas A&M did. So
do with that information what you will.
Do with that what you will. That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
I think the season we got off track here in terms of like consistency and not doing it. That's just because there's so much stuff happening.
Yeah.
But it's good to recap everything. I think for the most part, it was a good season. I don't intend to watch any more college football games, unfortunately, because I'm upset and sad. And I will remain that way for the next probably 8 months. Or maybe I'll probably be even more upset and sad depending on what else happens. Because, who is this? Who the fuck is Churdwin? MJ Churdwin.
Who's that?
I have no idea. Alabama we're losing a lot of guys right now. We're losing a lot of guys.
Well, a tad bit of breaking news for the Texas folks out there. Blake Gideon, former Texas safety and safeties coach, formerly of the Georgia Tech whatcha-calls. He was their defensive coordinator. He's coming back to Texas as the some sort of assistant, probably safeties coach, something along those lines. So I think that's pretty good. We just let go of Kenoto Hudson, who was our Nichols coach, and I think he's glad to have Blake Gideon back. Glad to have him back because
So Jalen Mbakwe is transferring. Richard Young is transferring. Who was this? Oh, Cameron Howard's leaving, but that's okay. Jalen Hale, I was thinking.
I heard that one.
And then an offensive lineman. We're still projected to have a quarterback leave, another running back leave, and another interior offensive lineman. So that's great. That makes me. None of those guys were starters, but unfortunately, the running back might have been. Still unfortunate.
I mean, for all the things that have happened today, because the portal's been open for all of 10 hours or so, that Texas is off to a hot start right now. Allegedly, not confirmed. Allegedly, they're going to get the. I don't know how to put it, but they're in the hunt to get the running back out of Louisville. Hollywood, I think I call him Hollywood, but his name is Isaac Brown.
Out of where? Louisville?
Yeah.
Wait a
And
minute.
then
keep going. You keep going.
and then Cam Coleman is on campus right now visiting. Next he'll go to A&M for a visit. We'll see how that one shakes out. Everybody is kind of leaning towards Texas at this point because I
you're
think
talking about Hollywood Smothers.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the NC State running back, and he is currently. We're on track we're looking for him. Also,
shout out to Cameron Coleman because I know y'all got to visit with him, but he's also got to visit with us coming up.
He's got the three teams are Bama, A&M, and Texas right now. Those are the three teams.
And I
think USC is sneaking in there too a little bit. But
his agent is.
Yeah, David Mogetta.
Texas.
Yeah.
Alumni.
Yeah, David Mogetta. He's a former. Yeah, he had a podcast. I listened to. He was on a podcast, and he was really in the shiz with the players. Like he was at the party. He was throwing parties with the players, and like he's like a really.
And he's also really good at negotiating contracts. So if he does go to Texas,
and we know that firsthand. Haha.
Unfortunately,
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
we saw how that played out.
But he is. Here's the thing. I like that we're in the race for Cam Coleman. I like that we're being aggressive in terms of like trying to recruit guys. I don't know if we get him. I'd love to get him. Don't get me wrong. And I found this out today. Apparently, Jalen Mbakwe was eating up like $1.2 million in cap space or in NIL for us.
That's crazy.
Yeah, apparently Ryan Williams is only making like, Ryan Williams is making like 2.4 million or 1.8 or 2.
God damn.
Yeah, Cam Coleman's projected to get like $4 million.
That came from Kirk Bowles, and let me tell you something about Kirk Bowles. He's a dumbass. So it's a personal thing between Texas fans and Kirk Bowles. He's the only guy who didn't vote for Vince Young to win the Heisman, and that's why he lost. So suck it. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, he reported like $4 million as the asking price. He's never gonna get that. It'll settle around like 2.3, 2.4.
I'm not saying we should sell the farm to get him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if Cam Coleman ends up in a Alabama Crimson Tide uniform, I'm not gonna be upset about it. We still need guys.
Still need some offensive linemen. Probably need that running back from NC State. But listen, you surround him with some new offensive linemen. You get some new O-line in there. You get a better running back. Cam Coleman and Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, Lottie Brooks. I feel a lot better about throwing a true redshirt freshman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure you do feel a lot better about throwing in a true freshman quarterback. I'm sure you do. I think personally, when it comes to Cam Coleman, that the Arch Manning of it all, I think that because we went through a whole segment earlier about Ty Simpson and how we don't even know if he's going to be there, and then his other school, A&M. Do you really think that he watched A&M Miami game and was like, I can't wait to catch passes from that guy? But one of the big things about this the Texas game was there were so many. He had a highly efficient Arch had a highly efficient game, still was throwing touchdowns, and was still having passes dropped, like a lot. Like he had a lot. At least 3 or 4 of them that were 20+ yarders. He threaded the knee. Like there's one to Dalen McCutcheon along the sideline. Couldn't have put it in a better spot. Like layered it over 3 defenders right in the hole, and just dropped it. There was another one to Parker Livingston, who's now in the transfer portal. Kind of surprised. I kind of liked him, but I think that signals they're going all in on Cam Coleman. But whatever. He had a deep post. Arch Manning with pressure in his face throws a dot. I mean, absolute dot, and just drops it, hits the turf immediately. And, those are just 2 examples.
I will say, I was never an Arch hater. I was an Arch doubter. Okay.
That's fair.
But I was not a hater. I did not want him to not play good. I just didn't think he would, which he didn't.
Right. He didn't for the most part.
I will say this. His turnaround has been very impressive.
So let me ask you this, though. As a Arch doubter, as you put it. The last year we go into the season, there's all this Heisman hype. I even told you that I thought it was crazy. It didn't make sense to me. He's barely played, right? We agreed on that part. This year going in, there's going to be Heisman hype. Do you think the Heisman hype has more of a foundation and is more? You could see it actually happening now rather than it just being all hype.
I would have to see who you get in the transfer portal.
Okay, because if we re-rack and we just go, if we were to just re-rack and go get like 1-2 guys and hope it all works out, then yeah, obviously there'd be like, no, I don't think it's possible. But if you go get Cam Coleman, you go get
Cam Coleman. If Cam Coleman ends up as the Longhorn, I think it'd be. You'd have to be really not that great at throwing the field to not be in the conversation for Heisman.
Right, you go get Cam Coleman. You go get you get this dude from Isaac Brown or whatever his name is from Louisville. I mean, you shore up.
It's really hard to fail.
Yeah, and you're going to need to get some interior offensive linemen, but it's not out of. I think the hype going into this year or next year, I mean, is much more warranted and makes a lot more sense. And it's not based on just like last year. You can make the argument it's because it's last name and the brand and the school he's at. Fine. I said that. I agreed with that. But this year, it has less to do with the name on the back of his jersey and the brand on his helmet.
I think he is playing much better since the Georgia game. The problem is the issue is, and I don't want to be nitpicky against you guys. I really don't. But in hindsight, Oklahoma probably wasn't. I mean, Alabama also was not that good, but also Oklahoma was not that good, and A&M was probably not. I mean, they're not that good. Okay, sorry, I'm not taking any way away from Texas. I think they did what they handled business against those 2 guys. But you need to see them. I think if Arch Manning can go out there and get a signature win, I think that's what they're missing is a signature win because there's too many. I'm with you if you want to count A&M and Oklahoma as signature wins for you guys,
right?
Or in Vanderbilt, I'm okay with that. But I'm talking about a Georgia, a Oklahoma, a top dog, like a real top dog. If he can get a signature win under his belt, I think that'll really tell you who Arch Manning is. And y'all play Ohio State next year, right? Early.
Yeah. We play. We play them at home next year.
I would circle that game if I was you guys, because now y'all got more skin in the game going into that one.
It's like, all right, for sure. Well, we got to because we have an Ohio State and a Georgia problem. Yes. So like we gotta figure out how we can if we can beat those 2 teams, then I think we just can't.
Play Georgia next year, right?
Oh no, we don't. We don't play Georgia next year. Thank God, actually.
So really,
I don't.
Really, it's just Ohio State, A&M,
Yeah,
and Oklahoma.
Yeah. If you beat those 3 teams,
which Texas owns Oklahoma and A&M. Like it's not
right.
It's not.
I mean,
close.
it's this in the way that we have a Georgia Ohio State problem, Oklahoma and A&M have a Texas problem, which is like not new news. So,
I think if y'all go out there and beat, because yeah, like I said, y'all got skin there. It means something. That game will mean something because y'all. They're the reason you kind of got left out of the playoffs this year. So you kind of really, all right, peace. All right, welcome back. You kind of really want to win that game if you're Texas, and especially if you're Sark.
Yeah, I think that they, I think going into this, we're gonna find out in the next. Because I've also heard that, I was under the impression that just because it's gone this way the last couple of years, once the portal opens, it was going to be like bang, 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 But I've
been slow moving the portal.
It's been reported that maybe these agents are kind of telling their players, hey, slow down. There's no need to like jump. And another weird thing, why is Jaden Baugh not in the portal yet?
Who?
Jaden Baugh.
I don't know who that is.
The Florida running back. It was this whole thing for weeks that he was going to go in the portal. Portal opens, nothing.
I think there's some backdoor, maybe something going. Because who's the Arizona State quarterback? Sam Levitt.
He hit the transfer portal today with a do not contact.
So yeah, you know what that means? That means that's the player saying, "Don't call me, I'll call you."
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not that guy, buddy.
Yeah. I
thought do not contact meant I already know where I'm going. Don't contact.
That's also what I was about to say. It's both of those things. It's the don't call me, I'll call you, and also inevitably in college football, there's the back door.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's why the portal's been open, and I haven't really been paying attention that much. I've been at work, but I don't know. Has anybody even like big guys? Have any of the big names signed anywhere yet?
No, nobody's announced anything. Nobody's announced anything.
You would imagine there was been I was imagining when the portal opened, bang, 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 like people are going to start signing because deals have already been made.
Yeah, kind of like in the NFL when the free agency opens and people are signing at 307. It's like, how did you negotiate a 4-year, $85 million contract in 7 minutes? Clearly you didn't, So like that's kind of the same thing that's happening now as well.
Man.
Yeah.
I really want Cam Coleman. I know we don't really technically theoretically need him, but I really want him.
I mean, you can never have too many sports cars.
Sure, but it don't mean shit if your sports cars are parked in a damn trailer. I mean, golly, we need some. I don't know, man. I was also really anticipating some staff moves being done today in terms of like what's going to happen with Alabama, because there was reports our O-line coach was getting fired like after Oklahoma, like he's going to get fired in the offseason. So I don't know, maybe I don't even know if they're still in Pasadena, or if they've even made it back to Tuscaloosa yet. But I would assume they left from Pasadena to Tuscaloosa last night.
Probably.
So they must be all in the building. Maybe they're just heavy on recruiting, and then we'll get to the firing of Ryan Gut.
Well, I think honestly, I think y'all are getting a later start on the offseason than everybody else.
Sure.
So like Texas, for instance. Granted, we had a bowl game, but it's much easier to shake things up. We got rid of our defensive coordinator 2 weeks before the bowl game. This man was watching film for 2 whole weeks, only to walk into the office and Shark was like, "Actually, let me see your badge." Like, it's a lot easier to do that when you're going to like a quote unquote meaningless bowl game than it is to do that when you're playing in a playoff. Like if y'all would have lost round 1, then I guarantee you by now you would have had all the moves you're thinking are going to happen would have happened already. But right now,
I wish bowl games got moved to like the season starts in August. I wish the bowl games would be played in like July, so all the freshmen could get in there.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I feel like we kind of hashed out a lot of stuff, but was there anything else on top of mind you wanted to get into?
No, I don't know when we're gonna do another one of these things. Maybe little playoff situation.
Oh, you see the Astros signed?
Oh yeah, that pitcher,
the Japanese pitcher.
yeah. Listen, there we go.
Apparently, he's nasty.
There we go. Yeah, I heard that. I was looking into his stats. He's pretty solid.
Yeah,
Pretty solid. Hunter Brown.
Framber Valdez is probably out the door. Houston has clinched a playoff spot. The Texans, and now they play the Colts, and then playoff football in Houston. Let's go round 2 exits, baby.
Let's go. Three things you can't escape: death, taxes, and Texans losing in the first round of the playoffs. But it's okay.
Second round or
Second round of the playoffs.
But and then basketball. Rockets are playing well. Ish. Kind of.
Hey, they won last night, right? They're 21-10, I think.
Yeah. So should make the playoffs there. Then we got baseball season, and then realistically, it's going to be a really depressing and sad 8 months, and pretending to care about other sports until college football comes back on.
Yeah. Look, the good thing is I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about because I'm hoping that I think this is the calm before the storm for the transfer portal. I think this is the calm before. Eventually, there's gonna be stuff that happens. Like every day now, I'm waking up like, what's about to happen? Like I can feel.
Well, there is news of a lot of guys like just throughout the day. It's been like. I'm looking and it's just like this guy's hit the portal. This guy's hitting the portal. Like every
right
day,
now, it's the mid-level guys. It's the freshmen that still have 3 years eligibility that didn't play a whole lot. It's a lot of those guys right now. Eventually, like Cam Coleman and then you got the defensive end from Florida who's also visiting Texas today. You got the running back, both of them, Hollywood Smothers.
I want to know how did Texas manage to get these guys to come on visits like now?
Shit, we flew back last night. Or whatever it was.
Why did we not? Man, we should have had a caravan waiting of just portal and get everybody who's entered the transfer portal. Everybody come on.
Everybody, come on. We're gonna meet in the dining hall and we're gonna show
open tryouts. Open tryouts. The winner gets $1 million in NIL.
Oh my gosh, they should do like a 7-on-7 portal preview thing. Like you should you do like a 7-on-7 tournament with a bunch of portal guys.
Oh, that would be sick. That would be awesome.
And then that way everybody gets to see all these freshmen that didn't get to play, That'll be fun.
That would be fun.
All right, brother.
All right, dude. We'll get back on here soon. But y'all have a great rest of y'all's evening. And we'll be back. See ya.